Hey guys, so I've noticed that a lot of individuals have been using Zoom, right? I've been using Zoom before the pandemic, so I knew how to use it a little bit. And I know because of the pandemic, a lot of people being at home, maybe not really using Skype or FaceTime or just work for whatever reason, right? Zoom is kind of the video conference application or a system program that has made it to the forefront and is on just about everyone's phone, computer, tablet, whatever the case is. But I've realized that a lot of you have been struggling with using Zoom, that you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to use it. And I'm making this video so that I can help individuals like yourself, right, who are probably having a little bit of trouble doing some of the basic things on Zoom, right? And it's okay, right? It's okay. Certain features you may not know how to use it because you didn't need to, or you just know enough to get on a call because maybe that's all you've been doing. It's totally fine. I was once there myself, right? But I was using a lot of them for different programs and calls and conferences I was holding. And so I want to be able to show you guys some of the things that you may have been struggling with when it comes to using Zoom, right? So right now you can see my entire desktop, and I think that is super, super important because there are key things that you need to know how to use, or at least be aware, especially if you're someone who is hosting a call. I think some of these are super, super important. If you're not, that's okay, but it's still good to know how to use it in case you do want to show someone something or you need to, do something on a call, you know how to navigate Zoom. So first and foremost, right, this mute, it helps you mute your voice, right? Mute your voice. A lot of individuals, right, you get on the call and then you don't hit that mute button and we're hearing all this background chatter. No one wants to hear that, especially when you're the moderator, especially when you're holding the call. If someone jumps on late and you got all this background noise, this TV, kids yelling in the back, we understand that life is happening, but at some point we're praying you remember how to hit that mute. So for the rest of us, right, who have access, right, you may have access because you're a host or whatever the case is, right, we're going to hit on participants and we're going to go hit over here and we're going to hit that mute all. That mute all button is going to be a lifesaver because we don't want to hear everybody. Sometimes you're hosting a call and you don't want people, right? You don't want people to unmute their mic, right, and interrupt you because it's just not time to ask questions. This is not the time for participation, right? Maybe you just want them to type in the chats. You can check this allow participants to unmute themselves, right? If you check it off, they will not be able to unmute themselves, right? They would have to raise their hand, right, in the system, or they'll have to type in the chats for them to be able to be unmuted, right? And so that's great. Now, if it's checked on, that means that they can unmute themselves at any point, right? But you can still hit the mute all when someone's talking, and it'll mute everyone who's on the chat. So that way they won't be interrupting the conversation at the moment. But if they wanted to speak or ask a question, they can unmute themselves and speak if that is how the call is being run, right? So that's something that's really great to know, right? That mute button. So if we select on more, right, you can check the ask all to unmute. And so if everyone is muted, and let's say you want everyone to unmute to just celebrate, like we're all gonna say cheers or we're gonna scream or let's wake up or whatever, you can select that so that anyone whose mic is currently unmuted, it will pop up on the screen and it will ask them if they want to unmute their mic to speak, to scream, or whatever's going on, right? So that's kind of cool. So mute all upon entry. I always check that on. So anyone who joins this call is automatically muted, right? It doesn't matter what their preference system is for their Zoom. If they're jumping on my particular link, right, they're automatically muted when they jump on, right? Then you have this play, join, and leave sound. You know how when someone's on and you hear the ding, ding, someone entered, ding, ding, someone exits, right? That can be super annoying when you're talking. If it's checked on, you're going to hear it, right? But when you uncheck it, you will not be able to hear when people enter or exit, so it will not distract you, right? And then you can lock the meeting, right? If you're having a meeting and you're saying everyone needs to be on by a particular time, right, no later than that, you can lock the meeting and they will not be able to get in, right? When they try to join, they'll get a message saying that the meeting room is locked, right? And they will not be able to enter, right? That's their bad, right? They should have got onto the call on time. Now you can enable a meeting room, right? When you enable the meeting room, it will be checked on. As you can see, it's enabled. And so what's happening with that basically is saying that if someone enters, it's going to put them in a waiting section and you can admit them. You can approve if they get on. So you can do that with special meetings where maybe people have to qualify to get on. You can do that however you want, right? Maybe there's a prerequisite for people to be on that call and you want to make sure only the individuals who are supposed to be on, right? If you're getting calls where you're getting a lot of random people hopping on, right, you might want to enable that so you can kind of cipher out people so you don't have to go and kind of kick people out, because you definitely can do that, right? You can definitely kick people out of the meeting as well. But enabling the meeting room is not a bad thing, but it can be super distracting if you're the one who's speaking on the call and you have to admit as people are filtering in. So you can definitely leave that unchecked. So you can allow the participants to unmute themselves, which we discussed. You can allow them to rename themselves, and you can allow them to start a video. Starting a video means putting their video camera on. So that's always a good option to have on. Renaming themselves is good. Some people don't know that they can rename themselves, right? So if you go to your name and you click more, you can rename. So what that means is if you're jumping on from your phone and it's saying iPhone, if it's saying Android, Galaxy, whatever, right? You can go and you can enter whatever name you want, right? So some people come and they'll put random names, and if you want to be able to know who's on the call, right, you want them to put their real name, right? You want them to put their real name so you can go ahead and have them rename themselves, right? And so that's really great. So once whatever name you have on your Zoom account, that's normally the name that's going to pop up. So that's the name I have on my Zoom account. So anytime I join a meeting, it will have that, right? Unless I change it. And so you can change it before you hop on the call, or you can change it while you're on the call. So that's something that's really good to know as well. And then the invite button, right? If you want to invite people to your call, you have your meeting ID number and you have your invitation link, right? And so you can copy this link and you can paste it for people. Same thing, or you can email it, however you want to do it, and it'll give you the meeting code and all that stuff. So that is what is used for just this specific call that I'm doing right now for this example. However, you can definitely change it at any given moment. And so let's go back to the bottom, right? You have your reactions. You can do reactions during the call. So it's kind of cool because they'll like pop up in the corner like you see, right? So everyone knows like, ooh, this is my reaction, right? This is my reaction to the call. So it'll kind of pop up as it goes, which is really, really cool. It's just, I think, another fun interactive thing that they've added. This definitely is more new and more recent in Zoom history, kind of more so throughout the pandemic. I think more people using it. They just wanted it to kind of add a little something. I think it's kind of fun and cute. On this record button, now they've recently added that this meeting is being recorded. So anytime you jump on a call that's being recorded, you will hear that loud and clear. So if you don't want to have your camera on and looking crazy and doing all this stuff, or you want to know if you're being recorded, you're going to know you're being recorded. This meeting is being recorded. That's what it's going to sound like, right? And so when it's recorded, it will either save to your Zoom cloud, it can save to your desktop, right? It's up to you. The recording has stopped. It will be in your account, right? In your settings in Zoom, where it will save to, and you can check where your videos go and where you want them to go moving forward. So the chat is great, right? You can chat to everyone. Normally, if there's someone else on the call, right, you'll be able to get a drop down over here, and it will allow you to talk to a specific individual, or you can write to everyone. So that's definitely cool. You can send files through here. The participants can chat to everyone publicly. It can be no one, meaning the chat is off. So they can't chat to anyone, or they could only chat to whoever's host, right? I'm a host, so if there were 100 people on the call, they would only be able to chat to me because that's checked off. If it's checked on everyone publicly, they can chat to everyone publicly, or whoever on the call is there individually as well. So that's something that's definitely a cool feature. Let's see, you can do the background stuff, right? Do virtual background. Definitely you can mute yourself. And then there's the share button. I know a lot of people don't know how to share on Zoom, right? This button is super cool. You can use a whiteboard, right? So if I'm sharing with a whiteboard, it's gonna allow individuals to see this specific screen that I have here, right? And I can draw, right? If I'm showing examples of something, right? I can say, hey, right, I can draw the examples, I can type it out, right? This is super, super cool depending on what you're showing, what you're explaining, and everyone can see the screen and then they can still see me because it's appearing on the side now, right? Pretty cool. So now, besides sharing a whiteboard, you can share from your phone, right? These are cool options. And then normally you can also still share like another screen, right? So if I have a website open, let's say I'm showing this, right? If I'm going to show my video that I have up, right, I have to have the image up and open on my back screen already. Now these are options that I can share, right? Now they're options that I can share. So let's say, okay, I don't really want to show you guys all this stuff. Okay, so let's say I have this open now, right? So if I want to share my browser, right, I can select it, and now the only thing that they can see is the browser, right? The only thing that they can see. However, if I have multiple things that I want to show, right? If I want to show my entire desktop, that's what you guys were saying before, it will show you my whole desktop. So it'll show you what I have on my screensaver. If I have multiple windows open, you can see all the tabs on the bottom. You're going to see anything that's on my screen, anything that pops up. If you just want them to see one specific thing, right, you're going to be selecting it here, right? You're going to be selecting it here as so, and then this is the only thing that will be seen. Right now I'm recording my entire screen so that you guys can see the different things I'm clicking that may not show via Zoom, right? May not show via Zoom. So that is why I am doing it this way. So you can do different annotations. And a cool thing too is you can create a co-host, right? The same way we were able to kind of change names, you can go in and make someone else a co-host, right? So kind of like how we did the drop down and we were putting, rename, you'll have another option that says make co-host, right? Or even with the share option, you can kind of give permission for other people to share. So when you have multiple people on the calls, you can definitely do that. And so with the annotation, it's now allowing me to kind of write on my screen, right? What I'm writing on is my screen. It's the Zoom screen that I'm currently sharing. So this is kind of cool because if I wanted to kind of highlight, hey, look, there's this here, we can do that, right? We want to focus on this, right? I can write on a screen. This is just drawing on top of what's there. And so if you're giving someone else permission to scribble on the screen, they will be able to do the same thing. So definitely be careful with that, especially if you're working with younger children or people who think it's funny to just scribble and draw crazy things on top of a screen. I've seen it happen before, right? Beware of that. And so you can definitely also allow other people to share, right? You would definitely have to stop sharing. If you select this, multiple participants can share simultaneously. So someone else would be able to share their screen and show you their work as well. So that is basically how you can use Zoom in a nutshell, different little functions, right? That mute button is super, super important. That rename, how to make someone a co-host, and how to share your screen, I think are super key, right? How to mute and unmute yourself. When you originally get on the call, right, it's going to ask you if you want to connect to the audio, right? You're going to have a headset image and then you have to kind of okay it so it can become a microphone, and then it should appear with the mic with the slash on, and then when you uncheck it, it's like this, right? So if you see the green going, that's the picking up my sound, right? It's letting you know it can hear my sound, how loud I'm speaking, how low I'm speaking, how loud I'm speaking, right? You can see the difference. So I hope that helped. Make sure to use some of this on your call. Please, guys, learn how to use that mute and unmute. It's super, super helpful. I know people who've been using Zoom for a long time and still struggle with that. So if you're watching this video because you needed a little bit extra steps or you needed some help, it is okay. Trust me, you are not alone. No matter how long you've you've been using Zoom. I just hope this helps you. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video.